Now it has to be known that we have an issue called laban al-fahl. And what is meant by laban al-fahl? When a woman breastfeeds a stranger child, how did she get the milk in her breasts to feed that child? How was this possible? Scholars say that this was possible because of her getting married to her husband. So it was the husband originally who made this possible, because generally speaking, girls don't have milk in their breasts. The milk in the breasts only come to reality when they get married and they get pregnant. So the cause, the reason of this milk is the man. And this is why they consider that when she breastfeeds a child, automatically the father of the child through suckling would become her husband. Which means that if the conditions are fulfilled, 5 sucklings within the 2 years of his birth, the woman becomes his mother, her husband becomes his father. Their children, whether combined or separate, meaning if the man had another wife and he had children from the second or third wives, these children would be his brother. One would say, Sheikh, but it was the woman who suckled. Said, yes, but the milk belongs to the man who caused this. So his children from another wife are his brothers because they share the same father. And his sisters are his aunts. His mother is his grandmother. And the same is with the woman who suckled him. All of her relatives who are mahram to her biological children will also become mahram to her suckled child. How is this confirmed? So we know that usually we need 2 male witnesses to testify so that their testimony would be accepted. But in the case of suckling mother, this is done privately. And women don't do this in front of men. So the hadith supports that one woman's testimony would be sufficient. And Uqbah ibn al-Harith, may Allah be pleased with him, said that he had married a woman. And after they were married for some time, an old slave woman saw them. And she said, I remember that I suckled both of you when you were infants. And Uqbah was out of his mind. So he rushed to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Prophet of Allah, this old crazy woman says that she suckled me and my wife. So the Prophet said, ﷺ, leave your wife. Uqbah begged the Prophet and urged him, O Prophet of Allah, she's my wife and this is only one single woman. So the Prophet said, ﷺ, how could you continue with this marriage when this has been said, leave her? Which indicates the importance of being careful when suckling others. In many joint families, in many normal families, cousins, in-laws, they get married together, they all conceive together, they give birth together, and because they are so close to one another, they don't want to separate the families. So they want this suckling to be implemented. So they all become a one big family. This is permissible, but it has to be either documented or witnesses should testify so that no ambiguity may arise in the future. Besides, I have this in my family a lot. So I have a lot of children of suckling. And in one case or the other, I feel that it wasn't a good decision, because that boy that we suckled and who has become my son would have been probably a good candidate to one of my daughters. But now he's her brother. This is done and over with. So sometimes it's not wise to do that, but it's an option that is always there and will always continue to be there for a family to adopt and to take it. This option is extremely valuable in the case of Islamic adoption. As we know, we don't have adoption in Islam, meaning that the child that I take in my custody, he doesn't carry my name, he doesn't inherit me, and he doesn't become mahram to my mahrams. But Islamic quote-unquote adoption is when my wife and I can't conceive. And we love one another. I don't feel like marrying someone else, and she doesn't want to file for divorce. So we reach an agreement to adopt Islamically a child, to take a child and sponsor and support that child. We go to an orphanage and we see this beautiful young girl or beautiful young boy. We bring them in. They have their own ID cards, family name, and everybody knows that this child is not ours. We're just providing for it. The problem comes up when the child is like in his teens, 15, 17 years of age. If she's a girl, I'm not her mahram. Yes, I took her in, I provided for her, I changed her diapers when she was young, etc. But I'm not her biological father, and I'm not related to her. So she has to wear the hijab in front of me when she's 10 years of age, or maybe younger or older. And if it is a boy, the same thing happens with my wife. He's not her mahram. So this causes a lot of hardship. To avoid this, we tell the people to adopt children that are beyond or below 2 years of age, and to suckle them 5 times, 5 good meals, so that they become mahram to them. So if it is a baby girl, I ask my sister to breastfeed her so that I would become her uncle, mahram. And for my wife, she's the same gender, no problem. I ask my niece to breastfeed her, so I become her grandfather or like. If this is not possible, then I will go to the doctor and ask for medication that would make my wife's breast full of milk and she can suckle. So some sort of hormonal medication that women get. And this happens also, and can happen, and this is the most authentic opinion among scholars, if a woman is single, someone who is 40 years of age, still a virgin, did not get married, wasn't successful in getting married, and she says, I don't want to spend the rest of my life alone, I'd like to adopt. So I say, okay, you can take a boy or a girl. But she says, I don't have anyone to suckle it, no relatives, nothing. So in this case, you can go to the doctor. He gives you medication, and you can breastfeed the child, and there will come milk out of you. And this is totally legit and halal, inshallah. The same thing goes with the wife. If she doesn't want to go for medication, she looks for her sister, for her niece, for someone related to her, so that after suckling the child, the boy would become mahram to her, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.